All righty then. Thank you guys for being so patient. We're starting at 7:05 this evening CST. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Amanda, and I am, I guess, excited is a word to say. Insurance is one of that I see pop up on Facebook a lot. It's been requested as a topic several times. Let me just start out with this discussion is meant to inform. It's not to be in place of legal advice or anything like that. We're speaking from our personal experience and what we know. And so it's not necessarily what everyone should do. We just want to share what it is that we do. So that way we can give some insights into the different insurances that we have and why. Next week, specifically, I've invited someone who does insurance specifically to come in and give some insight into the party rental industry when it comes to insurance. But tonight, I just wanted to get everybody's ideas about what their insurance currently is, that they're willing to share, and why they have that particular insurance. And then also talk about why it's important to have insurance and what's the worst that can happen? And that was my question going into my research for this discussion tonight is what is the worst that could happen? Because I was thinking, for inflatables, what a great fun opportunity. What could possibly go wrong for parents renting inflatables, and what knowledge should we go into it? Our group, party rental business owners, going into whether they should purchase insurance or not. So what I wanted to share with you are a couple of things that I found. Obviously, there are some horror stories. So I did want to share a news article tonight, just really quickly from close to where I live, and then talk a little bit more about the reasons why insurance is so important, not just for protecting our, the businesses, but also the people that we work with. All right. Just want to make sure there's no. Yep, there it is. Okay.
Ezekiel Montez de Oca and his wife Delmy set up inflatable bouncy houses every week. For their valley business, Together We Bounce.
Can you guys hear it and see? Yep.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Just make sure. Thank
you. So they
you.
know firsthand the importance of safety and taking extra precautions, like using 20-inch stakes or 50-pound sandbags to prevent their inflatable castles and slides from flying away.
It could happen at any time, which is why we won't set up any inflatables. If winds are predicted at 15 miles or more for the day, we will simply cancel the events. Obviously, safety for us, especially as a parent, comes first before, anything else.
Just a few days ago, a 2-year-old boy was killed and another child injured in Casa Grande when a strong gust of wind sent a bounce house flying into the air, then coming down in a neighboring lot.
We've heard reports and seen reports where bounce houses will go up and over houses.
John Knox is a geography professor at the University of Georgia who recently led a study on the dangers of bounce houses when they're not used properly and there's a lack of parental supervision. Since the year 2000, there have been 490 reported injuries related to bounce houses worldwide and 29 deaths.
There have been quite a few incidents in the Southwest U.S. where bounce houses haven't just been blown around, but lofted into the air because of the vertical motion of a dust devil taking it upward. And that's where it gets really dangerous.
Arizona is one of dozens of states that currently has no regulations when it comes to bounce houses and what wind speeds they're allowed to be used in. Most store-bought and professional bounce houses recommend not using them when wind speeds exceed 20 miles an hour.
And anywhere about 6 to 8 kids to jump in there comfortably.
This business owner wants people to know that inflatables are safe as long as they're installed properly and there's an adult watching the kids at all times.
These can be so much fun, kids love them, and something that is supposed to be a fun event shouldn't have to turn into a tragic one at the end of the day.
Yeah, Jason Berry reporting. He says one of the challenges we face, of course, in Arizona is that there may not be any strong wind in the forecast, but a dust devil can pop up without warning with wind speeds kicking up to 60 miles an hour.
And that's why they say parents need to think of a bounce house the same way they think of a swimming pool and have an adult watching at all time.
Okay. So I just wanted to share that really quickly. I came across that with my research, and that's not to say that I agree with, bounce houses are the same as swimming pools. That's different, but that's an Arizona comparison there. But I did come across several articles on bounce house related deaths, things like that, injuries. And I just thought, like, wow, I had no idea that there would be things that we would need to worry about when it came to, considering why we need insurance. Like, why is it important? Like, if everybody's having a good time, why would we need to add something like that? And unfortunately, it looks like that's one of the things that we do need to consider. So there are different types of insurance when it comes to your party rental business. There's specifically that liability insurance. This is basically from article Insurance 101 from Tariq's blog. So I'm not going to give you everything that's in there, but I will link to that in here. So liability insurance, which is required by most schools, churches, they ask for a specific document with your booking with them, that you have insurance with them. And then there's also insurance for workers, like workers' comp, that can protect your workers. There's insurance specifically
Sorry
for
to bother you. I gotta get off because she's calling me now. But I think I missed it.
No.
Oh.
Okay. Yes, important call for Adriano. Needs that. So sorry. So there's actually equipment insurance as well. So whether it's stored in your warehouse or out, there is insurance that you can purchase for both of those. There are a lot of different kinds of insurance. So what works for you may not work for everybody. Your group that you've gone with is maybe a good choice for you, but not everybody is necessarily the same, and their needs are not necessarily the same. So I just wanted to kind of open up the floor to see what it is that everyone has as insurance, and then why you've chosen that particular insurance. So I don't want to necessarily put everybody on the spot at once. So I'm going to start with Stacie, because I'm going to put her on the spot at once.
Okie dokie. Well, I'm going to tell you, I'll start with an insurance horror story. So not a horror story, an insurance learning lesson. First off, have a good agent that knows how to communicate well with you about what your needs are and how to break out your insurance and how to maximize where your dollars are being spent on insurance. We've recently had to reinsure with a different company because as much as I love my primary company that I've had for years, my agent sucks. And I loved her when we started because she was able to break out our insurance in exactly the way I needed it. She came and sat at our desk to do our audit and never turned in our audit for 2 years. So I'm currently fighting my old insurance company over what they believe my audit should be, plus a 35% fee that they can just mandatorily tack on for an incomplete audit. And why is the audit incomplete? Because the agent never turned in everything I sent her. So don't skip your audit and don't trust your agent. Well, I'm not saying that for true. Just make sure you have a good agent that's going to follow through with what their job is, because I could have directly submitted the audit to the insurance company and not had this problem. But instead, I've had to reinsure with a different company while I fight my prior company to reinstate the audit and get my numbers correct. So pay attention to the companies that audit your income and be very specific in how your insurance dollars are spent. So as I'm going through and redoing my insurance and lowering my insurance by several $1,000s, it's because the agent is working very closely, like the first agent did with me, to make sure that the dollars are where they're supposed to go. So $76,000 worth of payroll gets broken out into $34,000 worth of administrative. And because of the way I track my drivers and my workers, there are different categories of labor for installing tents and bounces and watching amusement rides. If you track your payroll properly, you're charged at, say, $10 per hour for supervising rides and being on site with equipment, and you're charged at, say, $4 an hour for installing and setting up and tearing down equipment, and you're charged at 0.3 cents. It's not quite that, but like 80 cents for admin duties. So if you are your administrator and you are taking a salary, that's administrative, not installation. So save those thousands of dollars by making sure you're accurately reporting what your real true payroll and job titles are. And the same thing with your proper equipment categories. There's multiple categories. Same thing with your automobiles. There's multiple categories. So just be very accurate and very detailed in how your income comes into you and what categories it falls in. I was declined by 2 or 3 people because they just thought I was a bouncy house company. I'm like, no, my bounces are 13% of my income. Oh, well, in that case, we'll go ahead and give you a quote. Great, thanks. So you want to be sure that you break out what you do and what category it falls into so you can accurately get your insurance needs met and have a good agent. Those are my words of wisdom on insurance, because this year was insurance hell for me.
I am so sorry to hear that, Stacie, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. We've really missed you the past couple of Tuesdays, so
Missed you guys too. And it actually worked out great because my insurance is going to go down. So it was a pain, but I got to the right spot in the end. So
excellent. And
just if I
hopefully
could save somebody having to go through what I went through, there you go.
Absolutely. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Great. So you can definitely pass if you like. But we'll go ahead and go to John Norman if you'd like to share your words of wisdom or what you have for insurance and why.
Okay, up on my part about insurance, there was the first time I got audited, right, and didn't understand what I was actually being audited for. But at the same time, the agents had explained to me what the audit was all about and everything else. But what I'm misunderstanding was she didn't really know exactly what bounce houses was all about from there, because she thought bounce houses was what I would say a whole entire year, no break in between, like a regular job. But I had to explain to her it's more of a seasonal type job, and she wasn't aware of that. So when she did the audit, she had to break it down. And then when she asked about my my tables, my tents, and all of that, she would ask it, was that separate within my income? Which it wasn't separate, because I wasn't too much into tents and tables. I was just a little bit into it. I was more into inflatables from there. So she didn't automatically divide it up. She just kept it as one. But once she saw the inventory, once she saw the amount that I was made between each week or each month, from there, then she began to do her calculations from there and said that she didn't want to make sure I wasn't overtaxed, or she would make sure that I wasn't overcharged for something that actually I shouldn't be paying for from there. And she basically let me know that through the audit, right, that eventually the insurance company was going to be notified exactly what's what, so they can charge me the right amount rather than overcharge me from there. But at the beginning, I was thinking that insurance company would charge you according to how much you made on a year or how much inventory you got. I wasn't too sure about that. But with this audit, just let me know right there and then how much it was based on my income, how much I was drawing in, so that I don't get overcharged or undercharged.
Okay. All righty. Well, thank you so much, John, for sharing. Definitely, I know it can't be easy to go through an audit. Like, I feel like that's such a nasty word, but it sounds like you had a relatively good experience with your person. So that's awesome.
Yeah, she was good. She was good about it and everything else. That's the first time I ever experienced that. Within what, 3 years being in the business, never got audited. And I figured I was in trouble when you said audit. Wait a minute, what did I do?
Yeah,
Doing the
yeah,
investigation on me. What did I say? But she
right.
explained to me what was what upon that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, awesome. Fantastic. Thank you, John. John Norman, sorry, I got two Johns, John squared. Let's go with Kayleen, if you'd like to share, or you can always pass. That's up to you.
I can share. My husband does the insurance though, so I'm going to pass it off to him if that's okay.
All right. So we have the general liability insurance from West Bend, and coupled into that, we have the equipment insurance, and then we've also got, I think it's like owned and leased, like vehicles and trailers, because we do rent from U-Haul a lot.
Hired
So
non-owned auto.
auto and auto.
It's
Oh
called
yeah,
hired
hired and auto. Yeah,
non-owned
yeah,
auto.
that's the one. So we've got that because we rent from U-Haul a lot, and then I believe that's it. But yeah, I mean it's not that bad. I feel like it's about $3,000 for the season. So um, yeah, I don't know. I'm new to the whole insurance thing, so I just got what they recommended we get.
And there's definitely something to be said for go with the recommended, go with the recommendation that you get and then, adjust from there. I think that's awesome. You've got your general liability. I'm just curious, what is the amount, if you wouldn't mind sharing, like, what is it a $2 million policy, 1 million per occurrence, something like that?
It's 1 million per occurrence and then 2 million cumulative.
Policy. Okay, perfect. That's exactly what Tariq has actually, is that particular policy. So that's what he does for Bounce My House. And it doesn't mean it costs $2 million. Just like it's not, it just covers the $2 million plus 1 million per occurrence. So so great. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it looks like George, it looks like you're on the go. I don't know if you want to contribute or you can pass, either way.
I'm actually just starting out, so I actually haven't gotten insurance yet, and I'm trying to learn about it.
Excellent. You are in the right place, George. So that's exactly what we're here for, is to learn what other people are doing and then make the best informed decisions for our personal situation. So I'm glad you're here. That's awesome.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. So let's go, John. We're talking about insurance. I know, sorry, John, John Iorio here. We're talking about insurance. So I don't know if you want to share what you have and why, or you want to pass.
Hello. Yeah, I mean, I have mechanical rides, I have tents, I have mechanical bull, I've got indoor places. This year has been a very frustrating insurance premium. Knock wood, over 20 years with nobody even challenging my insurance. This year here from Zodiac Insurance, that's the broker, not the actual underwriter. I had to write down every single piece of equipment that I owned. In years past, all I had to do was write down the inflatables, the hard rides, the things that were the high risk items. I had to write those down, and then anything else that was within my within the scope of doing my business was was covered. I mean, I couldn't not like some performers weren't covered, like flamethrowers are not covered. And like, when would you ever need that? Well, you could do
You need
Mardi
that
Gras time.
for
You do
sure.
it. And not often, but it kind of happened. And I have workers' comp, which is almost impossible in New York. They don't understand the industry. So I don't think any workers' comp policy really understands the industry. They they group us in with carnival people that set up big rides, and they charge DJs. If you just had the DJ service, they charge you very little for workers' comp, even though you probably a TV can fall on a roadie, and that could probably put him in the hospital. I don't know of too many people that can get a bounce house up high enough to hurt them badly. So it's just ridiculous what they what they charge there. Auto insurance in New York State has gone ridiculous. I would say that my insurance right now, not workers' comp, but my insurance right now is somewhere around 50 grand in premiums a year, and going up, with no claims. And what else did I want to say on that? There's not much more to say on that. It's I have a 1-2 policy with a 1-1 umbrella, $1 million auto policy. And believe it or not, in New York State, there's some areas that's not enough insurance. If I go to New York City, they want 3.5, and I'm not doing it. Somebody was telling me that they want 3.6 now. In some towns, and it's just not worth the premium to do some of the events that require that. So I don't bother unless I get enough customers that want it. So I don't know how, and I don't know how these guys that do drop offs for $250 do it. They probably don't have insurance, or they claim they do, but I don't know how they do it. Definitely, they're not getting the major events that I'm getting. So and my insurance this year does not cover any performers anymore. So it doesn't cover costume characters, doesn't cover it will cover face painters. They gave me that exception, but it will not cover balloon artists. It will not cover clowns. Any specialty acts. And I have not really replaced that insurance yet. Nobody's asked. One of the things that I guess
If you're
good and
subbing those people out though, John, can't you make them have their own certificate or their own insurance under you?
they are so impossible this year. It used to be very easy to get workers' comp and everything else from them, but they're so impossible now with the thing of. I've got to put my foot down, but it's very hard. Sink or swim when you can't find many performers anymore, and everybody wants top dollar. It's very hard to get these people in the first place, and with the Venmo, or Cash App, a lot of them want to be paid that way, and so it's to say it's been a circus. It's been a circus, and I've got to get my own policy with that. I'm just I'm waiting. Like, as much as I hate the off season, I am welcoming it to try to just simmer down and regroup for this coming season. I don't have property insurance on my equipment. I haven't had that in ages. I think before the pandemic is the last time that I've had that. Inline marine policy, I believe is what they call it. I'm not sure if that's what it's called all over.
Inland.
Inland. Thank you. So I don't have that right now. I do get hammered on any of my equipment leases with insurance payments. For that. So it's a lot. There's a lot. Insurance. Is a big stressor. My premium payments are $3,500 a month after my down payment. So it's that's a lot of money. It's a lot. It's another rent. So.
Wow,
that's
that's a lot, having no claims whatsoever, 3,500 a month with no report. So wow.
Yeah. I've got what some of you may know of, and I know I'm sure Stacie does, but I've got a 0 loss run. Loss run is how insurance companies, for those of you that don't know, rate you. So basically, they go back to your past carriers. I stay with the same carrier. Definitely should shop it every year, but basically your past carriers will have to give you loss runs so that they know, is this guy constantly getting into claims? Is he constantly having injuries? Is he constantly, is he? And of course, they really, really hate when you put in the small claims. If you could pay something for under $1,000 off, and you don't think there's going to be any long term, that's a judgment call that I don't want to make for anybody. But if you've got like a little boo boos and owies that you can make go away, that was your fault, and you did it, pay those, because they really hate those. But knock wood, with everything that we do, I try to. I've been very lucky in the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, to avoid getting any kind of claims. So, and it's all in the training of the staff and the setup and the breakdown, and some of it is just good fortune and good luck.
So here's a small workaround for people, especially people who are smaller. It's not a solution, but it actually can be used as an upsell to potential employees. You can get AFLAC, and you can get accident insurance through AFLAC. And an accident is literally that. I tripped on the driveway, accident. I fell off a curb, accident. I had a bounce house fall on top of me, accident. You can actually get literally insurance for stupidity, and it's not that much. It's like 24, 25 bucks a month per employee. You have to get it as a business. You can't get it like as a personal thing, but they will then cover the gap on like paying for that injury. And it isn't, most states require work comp, and so it isn't a solution for works comp, but it is a solution if you just have Joe Stupid cut his thumb and they have to go to the hospital and they have an $800 or $1,800 bill. If they're covered on AFLAC with the accident policy, you can turn it in for that for reimbursement. And it's a lot less than raising your insurance rates, but you can also spin it as a benefit, because the policy is for the employee. It's not for, you have to be a company to buy it, but it's for the employee. So if they were hanging Christmas lights at home and they fell off their ladder, they could still utilize the insurance to cover that accident as well. So it's something we look long and hard at for a good period of time. And I have it on 2 of my guys. I don't do it on newbies. I only do it on long-term people. You can also get vision through them, which doesn't terribly suck, but it's another one of those things like, oh, hey, here's a benefit for $12. I'll get you vision insurance. So it's a workaround, but for, like John says, he's going to pay out of pocket $1,000. If you want like a little extra added bonus protection, you could pay the premiums, and then you're going to turn in those small claims you would turn in those accident claims through the accident policy.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the insight on that. There's so much great information. That's why I love that we record these, we post them, and then also I take quite a few notes and do chapters. But I think Kayleen, your question there for should we get workers' comp if it's just your husband and you? States require workers' comp for a certain number of employees, depending on the business. So that might be something you would want to research for your specific location, if that's a requirement, and how many workers you have to have in order to do that. And then
as a general rule, owners can be exempt from workers' comp, but as the traditional category, if you bill most of your time under administrative, my workers' comp policy on me costs me $91, but if I were to have to become disabled and could not run the business any longer, we'll pay out $349,000. Well worth the $91 premium, just FYI.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's really awesome information there. And then Kathy said,
who do you have workers' comp?
Honestly, I couldn't even tell you who the carrier is right now because we just switched, but I got whoever the carrier is. I mean, I literally just switched last week. Prior to that, I was through West Bend. That's who I'm having problems with. I love West Bend. It's not their fault that my agent's an idiot. So if you've got West Bend, it's great. Just be prepared for those audits and make sure your agent turns them in properly. But OVD, I'm with OVD now. It was a long wait to get in the door, but they solved all the hiccups that I had with transitions. And so they have me rated on workers' comp, and we just went through that all last week to nail down the final transitions because mine was expiring on the 26th. So as of the 26th, they got me picked back up and put with a different group, and I dropped my workers' comp by about $4,000. So bonus. So I honestly couldn't tell you, but it's just one of the ones that are being brokered through OVD. So I can speak highly of them being very patient and helpful through my transitionary phase.
Do you do mechanicals?
No, I'm not. Well, I got to train, but
And can I ask what classification your employees are under?
so in their work comp, I've got 3 classifications. I've got amusement rides, which that's being rated at $10.46, but I've only got about 10 grand in that because we don't supervise most of our stuff. And then the installation ironically falls in the same category as window installer and roofing installer. That's where they dump tents in. So installation of bounces, tents, and drivers, like your actual vehicle drivers, are all in the same category. And that's at like $4.96 an hour. And then my office is at like some ridiculously small amount per hour. So did that
In
help?
New York, it's like $19.
It's New York. Of course it is.
Crazy. I'm
I'm close. I'm in Chicago. I mean, I remember my first time the first time I ever had to buy workers' comp like a gazillion years ago, when I was like a peanut. I mean, I was freaked out. It was $1.98 an hour, and now it's $10.46. I mean, that's how much it's gone up in 20 years.
Yeah. They gotcha. Should be like Chris Rock says, right? Insurance should be in case stuff happens. I clean that up. He goes, if stuff doesn't happen, shouldn't I get my money back?
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think I have to put a post-it note on the computer that I'm supposed to keep things PG.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I said in case stuff.
No, that was perfect. Excellent. Actually, this is perfect. I know Ashley just joined us. And then more bounce inflatable rental. Definitely, if you want to chime in here, absolutely. But I think it's great to have Stacie and John, who have so much experience with insurance and so many of those things. So if you do have questions you want to put in the chat for them.
Helpful hint on hired non-owned auto. That also covers employee-driven vehicles when they are driving under you. Make sure you ask that directly. But if you have employees driving their own trucks or their own vehicles to gigs, hired non-owned auto is where that coverage would kick in. So I'm always yelling at my guys to clock out when they go to lunch, because if they're clocked in and they're driving their car and they get in an accident, that's on me because they're clocked in, even if it's not my accident. But it can come back to bite you in the butt if that situation occurs. So the flip side though is if they're actually like running a tablecloth to somebody for me in their vehicle and something were to happen, it's my responsibility to take care of that situation. So make sure when you're adding, and hired non-owned auto is cheap for us. It's like $600 a year, but make sure when you're adding that to your policy, you double check that it covers your employees when they're using their own personal vehicle for an errand for work. And that can be something as simple as go get lunch from McDonald's for us and they're still clocked in. Go over to the grocery store and buy some Gatorade for the guys and they're still clocked in. That's not just go take this to an event or go here and make balloons or go take this, part that the tent guys forgot. So you don't think about that little bitty running around stuff, but that needs to be covered too. And the cheapest and most economical way to do that is hired and non-owned auto, as long as they're writing it properly and including your employee use of personal vehicle.
That is really, really helpful. I always wondered, one of those things that schools are really crazy about liability and things like that. But we ended up, our high school had to stop kids from driving off campus to go to lunch, because eventually, because the school was responsible for any students driving their vehicles during school hours. And so literally they just stopped everyone from driving anywhere, ever during the school day. So it was walking or nothing. And that would make a lot of sense because they were liable for that. If there was an accident and it was during that work time, then they were responsible. So yeah, something good to make a note of. Thank you. Awesome. Or not so awesome. We'll have to cover that. Okay. So just a quick look in our chat. So if you have any other questions about insurance, definitely drop them in the chat or unmute and you can ask for the good of all. Definitely some really great information. I really like what John said about your training your staff and having yourself trained in general. Is a really good idea, especially to avoid those claims, those small claims. So making sure that you understand safety and you're able to train the people who are working with you to avoid those claims, not to avoid them, but just to make sure bad things don't happen. And then I like what John said about shopping around every year. Like, that's really interesting. I'm wondering, John, when is your time that you like start to shop around for insurance, or do you have a time?
Yeah, 3 months prior to the new policy is usually when I like to shop around and see what else is out there. It has not been easy to shop around, in these times because there's not as many people doing it, especially in my neck of the woods, covering it. A lot more people are leaving. Back in the days of THE insurance, that used to be really great. It was a great plan. It was a great thing. You used to save a ton of money with THE, but then THE let a lot of people in that weren't really following good setup and policies and all that, and a lot of claims, and that program went out. I think that was underwritten by Lloyd's of London. But again, you just got to 3 months, and they won't write you your new premium for 2 months prior, or I think 6 weeks prior. And you gotta have everything, all your ducks in a row. These days especially, you gotta know your serial numbers. You gotta know the manufacturers. You gotta have that list together. This year here was like torture. Getting the insurance done this year. So definitely, and read that policy, because no matter what the broker tells you verbally on the phone, or many conversations you have, or even emails you, even though it's in writing an email, if it's not in the binder of the policy, if something's excluded, because I read through my policy, believe it or not. I mean, I know it's a lot of pages, a lot of fine print, but I read through it and I highlight any questions I have, and those questions I will ask in writing, and ask them to respond. I have not. I love Zodiac Insurance, but the brokers, but this year has been a little more difficult to get crystal clear answers on policy things. So I try to more common sense it than anything else. But it's been a bear.
I'm so sorry, John. I wish I had like more advice or like anything, but I think you and a lot of business owners now are facing like, okay, there's more and more liability, more and more claims, and the more issues that people have, like the higher that insurance goes, unfortunately. And it's not necessarily John. Obviously, he's not filing claims, but also, it's the nature of the business is what I found research wise. That those premiums keep going up and up. And that's why I invited an insurance guy next Tuesday, so that way we can grill him. No, so he can speak intelligently, because I am not an insurance person, and that definitely would never claim to know anything as much as Stacie or John know. But I wanted to make sure there was somebody who works for an insurance company who could come in and speak to, why are these premiums so high? Like, what is it specifically with these classifications? Like, why are tent workers in the same as, what was it, drivers? And window installers? Like what?
Drivers and window installers and roofer installers. So when he first sent it over, it says window installers and how much was put into that category. And I went, I don't install windows, right? He's like, yeah, here's the 18 things in that category. But I said, and I asked specifically as like, if it's more about like, should I be breaking my payroll? Because my guys, when they drive, they make more per hour when they're the driver. So they actually toggle in and out of my clock in and out system based on when they're driving the truck. So like when they're working loading, they're under one pay category. When they get in a truck, they're in another. And when they're on site installing, they're in another. So throughout the day, they toggle their job duties so I can accurately track, payroll and also track different job categories. But in doing so, I'm able to really, really break down exactly what is it 16 minutes to install a tent or is it 78 minutes to install a tent? Like I can pinpoint exactly how many hours are spent on the actual installation versus the driving versus the loading and unloading. And technically, I believe it should be a different category, that when they're loading and unloading in the warehouse, I don't think it should be rated at the same rate as driving or installing. The insurance company doesn't feel the same way, but having those numbers accurately, if ever we were able to see a category that would properly fit better, we could move those hours, those payroll allotted hours over to that category. So it's kind of nice for that purpose. Like you can always stay on top of how detailed your payroll is. It's a far cry from, hey, I pay this guy $25 to drop off a bounce using his truck. It's a lot more complex, but it really allows you to dig deep in your systems and also examine where the money is going as far as like, is it taking 3 times as long to load things as it is to install things, as it is to tear down things? That helps you get some good accurate numbers and figure out, is there time that can be saved somewhere, or is it just always going to be that way? And it's one of those eternal things that you're constantly working on is efficiency. But if it helps with my insurance, I'll do it.
There we go. I like that. John, you said, where do you do that? Do what?
The toggling, like where do you do the toggling? You have to like, how do you like, I mean, that's seems like a mountain more of paperwork to do it. Do they press a button on the program?
You can do it on the program. Have you ever seen what a FedEx driver has to go through every day? Arrived at location, delivered package, got package signed for, got back in my truck, moved to the next stop, dropped off, delivered package. They have to toggle in and out of their system 832 times a day. I'm asking my guys to do it like 8. So
Wow.
if you've got IO workers, you set up different job descriptions. So you have labor for general labor, warehouse labor, a bounce supervisor for when somebody's standing in front of a bounce house. I have a category for photo booth supervisor, a category for costume character worker, a category for driver, a category for installer, like actually when they're installing. And just as they move through their day, they have to change what their category is. But part of the
Is everybody on mute?
There we go. No.
Oh my God, did I just talk through like mute for like the last 5 minutes?
Yeah, there's like a couple minutes there. I don't know what happened. Sorry.
And that speech was the key to life itself.
That's right.
Get it.
The answer was 42. You missed it.
But
gave
the
wealth
answer
of
was
information.
42. That's classic.
That's
what
like
did it?
like the Forrest Gump scene where he's talking and no one can hear him, and then finally the mic comes
And
back
that's
on.
all
Right?
I have to say about
That's all I
that.
got to say about that.
What did anybody hear me say anything, or John, did you hear my answer?
I did not. I heard that you said about FedEx and they toggle in and out, and I'm just thinking, God, I'm just like I don't have bad guys at all. I think they're great. They're great staff, but I just can't imagine asking them to do a ton more. And like I don't know like what yours like I don't know. I gotta reevaluate my stuff. But we've been doing events every single day since Memorial Day, and I tell you, once we get to this Monday coming here, that's when we'll finally be able to, take a break. We haven't had 2 days off in a row at all, and there's always someone out at an event every single day. Which thank God, I'm very happy that we're very very busy, but it's been a lot, and so it's oh my God, in New York, I don't know about the rest of you out there, but in New York, we've had to deal with the last week and a half, 90, 89, 80, 90-degree weather. It's been crazy.
Wow. Congratulations, John, for being, so dead tired you can't move at night. Congratulations. But definitely when it comes to saving you money for your insurance, like, is it something you'd be willing to change, like your operations wise, if it would save you money through insurance, if they were willing to
Yeah, I mean, look, listen, I don't think that I know enough. I know my experiences, but I mean, I respect the hell out of Stacie. I think she knows a lot, way more than me. I'm in the sauce. I haven't had enough time to get my IO up and running and to do all the work I need to do for that. So once I get that up and running, I'm curious to see how what that will do to change the business, and I'm also a little nervous because I figure once the IO actually is up and running, and you guys finish building me a great website, 2 or 3, that we are going to further explode, and I'm going to really really have to hone it in, as to what I do, but right now it's been extremely exhausting. But like today, we're getting ready for tomorrow and the 4th, which is just insane for us. I know a lot of people were saying on another Facebook group that they're giving their guys off, they're not working. And for me, we do a ton of parks, recs, and country clubs. And if I don't do their events on the 3rd and 4th, I don't get the Memorial Day, the Town Day, the Labor Day events, and these are all decent sized events that to help the business be what the business is today. So I just can't imagine not doing events on the 3rd and 4th. Not that I wouldn't love to stay home those days and relax and enjoy with the family, but I always tell everybody, hey, listen, we'll celebrate on the 5th with money in our pockets, and I used to ages ago. I used to do a big 5th barbecue when times were different and a little better.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, John. I'm definitely like the fact that so many small business owners with your tents, tables, chairs, your party rental businesses in general, like you guys are working hard on the 4th of July, and you're giving joy to so many different families and different community events. And so thank you so much for doing that. I know it can't be easy being away from your family, but I definitely love like hearing that you're booked. Like I love hearing like all the events and hopefully all the money that's coming in. We had what motivates you a while ago, a couple of discussions ago, and one of those big ones is money and the other one is family. So the fact that not only are you hopefully making money on this really big holiday, but also your families, you're giving joy to families across the United States and more. So that's great. So with that, I know there's lots more to say, but we have about 5 minutes left. So I wanted to talk over my son here. Brandon, can you help? Thank you. So I have just a little parting gift here for an important notice on fireworks safety. It's a fireworks waiver. I'm going to put in the chat if you'd like it. It's totally free. And then if you have any questions you'd like me to shoot over to the insurance guy before he gets here, John Norman, I'm going to go ahead and say this question is a great one. I would like the insurance guy to answer it as well. If you don't have any claim for the year, a certain percentage should be reimbursed. Why not? Why don't they reimburse you for doing those things that you're supposed to be doing or not filing or having claims free? I think that's a great question for him. So anybody else, you are more than welcome to put some questions in the chat. I'm going to put that fireworks waiver in the chat if you'd like to copy it and use it. Like, feel free to use it. But any more questions for the insurance guy next week? What a great one to be in on. I know we'll start taking bets for Stacie versus the insurance guy. That's fine. I'll do that.
That's not funny.
You already can't swear, so you might as well bring violence into it. I don't.
What if it's my insurance guy you're bringing on?
No way. No way. That would be crazy. No, I don't think so. No, we're not going to scare him. His name's, I want to say it's Kyle. It'll be okay. He'll be all right. We're not going to scare him too badly, but definitely would be nice to get somebody from the insurance side to chat with us. So John's betting on Stacie. I love it. Kayleen is with Stacie as well. So yeah, I love it.
Had a very frustrating month. I can channel my anger and frustrations into, you know,
Your
whack an agent, whack-a-mole, whack an agent.
That's right. That's right. He's like, I'm never coming to your discussion again. You're nuts. No, it'll be good. It'll be a great experience all the way around, because our goal really is to help everybody get the best that they can when it comes to insurance, especially, but you know, in general. So is insurance based on inventory, income, or incident? That's a really great question. So I'm gonna put that also. Great questions, John, here. All right, anybody else has some questions? I got a couple of minutes here. I want to just make sure we get those questions down, and then of course come in.
I have a question for Amanda. What was your day like on Tuesday?
Oh my gosh, I can't even start right now. Like things are crazy. We are super busy, and it's great because we're helping so many different people. But it is kind of nuts. So Stacie has been great. Brandon, here he is.
I got the 2 thumbs up behind you.
Yeah,
okay, I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know what? It is nice to be here with all of you and like just relax. We're just having a conversation and it's nice. And yeah, so let's I'll definitely leave it at that. But you know what, Stacie, I am looking forward to my 4th of July, and I don't want to rub it in, but I am crawling. I am like, let's get there. Slowly but surely. So there you go. Okay. Thank you. All right, John, all of the above. Nice. I like it. Okay. All righty then. Well, I think that'll conclude our discussion for this evening. Thank you so much, John, Stacie, and Kayleen and her husband also. George, thank you for coming in, contributing. John Norman, also everybody for coming in tonight and sharing your words of wisdom or being a listening ear. And hopefully next week we'll have some more information on insurance. And John, definitely all of your great questions, I am putting those so that way I can forward them to my insurance guy, Kyle. Yeah, let's see what he's got to say about those and have him prep a little bit before he comes in. So other than that, have a wonderfully safe 4th of July, everybody. Safe to your all of your equipment and all of your families. And I look forward to seeing all of you back next Tuesday.
Bye. Happy 4th.
Happy 4th.
Be safe.